The following is produced by 5-Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content, and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
Trees, they're one of our most valuable resources. All over the world, forests are being completely devastated at a rate of 10 city blocks a minute. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join me as today's environment discovers what is being done to fight environmental problems such as deforestation and how you can get involved in being part of the solution.
Today, City Council is effective with 9,000
reducing air pollutants by
a
30%. Educational programs.
Since the first celebration of Earth Day in 1970, 25% of our planet's forests have vanished. 14.7 million acres of land a year is rendered permanently desert-like. We want you to meet a person who has dedicated himself to saving an American forest and its inhabitants who rely on it for survival.
The beauty our world has to offer is far-reaching. Each generation that inherits this radiant splendor is entrusted with its care. Decades of short-sightedness, along with our growing need for development of our priceless natural resources, has threatened these precious lands, perhaps forever. The Elk River region in Oregon is one American treasure on the verge of total destruction. This area is botanically and geologically unique to our planet. The endangered area includes a vital watershed and a forest which has endured over thousands of years. If this is destroyed, there will never be another like it. The Friends of Elk River, an organization formed by local residents, is trying to preserve what remains of the last 10% of this ancient forest. This small group is battling both government and industry with few allies and inadequate financial resources. Their effort needed someone with extraordinary abilities. John Paul DeJoria, CEO and co-founder of John Paul Mitchell Systems, became one of the Friends of Elk River. For years, John Paul has supported many environmental efforts, from alternative energy sources to saving the Amazon rainforests. Discovering there was an ancient American rainforest on the brink of destruction inspired him to get personally involved. Known for his hands-on approach in business and his strong beliefs, John Paul made the 800-mile pilgrimage from his home in Beverly Hills to the town of Port Orford, Oregon, the doorway to a world millions of years old. Jim Rogers, a forester and timber manager turned environmentalist, guided John Paul through the last remaining American rainforest. The portion of the Elk River watershed located within the Siskiyou National Forest is approximately 50,000 acres in size. Unfortunately, 40,000 acres of this land is still available for extensive logging activities. The problem is clear-cut logging of large areas of this public land, which virtually eliminates entire blocks of forest at a time. Even though seedlings are often planted after clear-cutting, replacing an ancient forest with tree seedlings is like trying to resurrect the dinosaur. It just can't be done. Along with the destruction of the ancient forest, the wild habitat for some 200 vertebrate species will also disappear. This fragile rainforest watershed receives more than 130 inches of rain a year. This amount of rain causes areas of clear-cut vertical slopes to slide into the river, destroying the fragile salmon spawning beds. This fragile ecosystem relies totally on the forest for the survival of its inhabitants, and the inhabitants of the Elk River itself, mainly the Elk River salmon. Salmon live strictly to breed. They can swim inland hundreds of miles from the ocean to spawn. If the spawning beds are unusable, they will die without reproducing. Even in areas where young salmon are already born, the summer heat from the shadeless forest sends the water beyond livable temperatures. John Paul's personal donation enabled funding of legal action to stop all clear cutting until proper environmental studies could be made on the endangered species, including the northern spotted owl. John Paul also recruited the help of his hair care professionals around the world by offering profits from one of his products to the Elk River cause. With this joint financial support and the ensuing publicity John Paul created, worldwide recognition of the Elk River project is being achieved. Most people don't realize that the land being destroyed is public land and belongs to the people of the United States. It's up to the citizens to let their congressional representatives know how they want this land used.
No matter where we live in the United States, this is our rainforest, and it's up to us to save it.
It is estimated that by the year 2000, demand for timber in the United States will exceed our supply by 50%. Heading off this problem and others through education is one way to prevent it from happening. Let's take a look.
The year is 1989, the place somewhere north of the northernmost point of Canada, just south of the North Pole. And this is Ice Walk, the International North Pole Expedition. Its purpose was both simple and profound: to salute human initiative and demonstrate that each individual on this fragile planet of ours can make a difference, and to help focus world attention on the threat to the ozone layer and the urgent need to protect our environment. This philosophy follows closely that of the expedition sponsor, Amway, one of the world's largest network marketing companies. Amway Corporation's 33-year success story is a testament to the power of individuals to achieve ambitious goals through their own initiative, and in its continuing efforts to promote environmental awareness and education through a variety of sponsorships, an impressive model for all of industry to follow. A first step in heeding Ice Walk's call for positive environmental action was to inspire Amway distributors and employees worldwide to plant trees as a contribution towards a better world. To these ends, Amway was one of the first sponsors and participants in the American Forestry Association's Global Relief Project, which has as its goal the planting of 100 million trees worldwide. Together with NASA and the United Nations Environment Program, Amway is the founding corporate sponsor of the Aspen Global Change Institute, which was formed to help us understand and respond to global change and environmental issues, and help bridge the gap between scientific research and grassroots-level environmental activities. As a further inducement to get young people involved in environmental causes, Amway, together with Newsweek, sponsors the Class Act environmental contests for students. Unquestionably, the most unique and compelling sponsorship has been the Amway Environmental Foundation's Masters of the Arctic Art in the Service of the Earth, an international traveling exhibition of contemporary Inuit or Eskimo masterworks from Alaska, Canada, Greenland, and eastern Siberia. These exceptional works of art speak eloquently of the Inuits' complete harmony with the land. Amway is a recipient of the United Nations Environment Program Achievement Award. At its own facilities in Ada, Michigan, Amway has demonstrated its concern for the environment in its use of biodegradable ingredients in its products and packing materials, the use of recyclable containers, concentrated formulas to reduce packaging, and its on-site recycling center. This is a truly unique company that has recognized its responsibility and role in both fostering and promoting sound environmental stewardship, and encouraging the people of the world to take a more active role in protecting the environment.
All plastic is not the same. There are actually 7 different types of recyclable plastic. This bin, for instance, is made from recycled high-density polyethylene, or HDPE. Today's Environment visited a place where this type of recycled plastic is made into a number of products.
Waste receptacles go through a lot over the years. No matter what they're made from, sooner or later they end up with everything they've been collecting, in the trash. But what if there was an alternative? Recycling old waste receptacles and other containers. Today, recycling has become a buzzword for consumers and corporate America. But how does plastic recycling work? And how does something get from here back to us? Consumers are the most important part of the recycling process, because without the demand for products made from recycled materials, recycling will fail. After being sorted at a preliminary recycling station, plastic is shipped to places like the Zarn Plastic Recycling Center in Reidsville, North Carolina. Using a state-of-the-art blow molding process, Zarn includes the recycling of more than 12 million pounds of high-density polyethylene plastic annually for making a variety of durable consumer and industrial products. This plant even recycles its old roller waste carts and other discarded No. 2 plastics. Blow-molded products are lightweight, yet very strong. So strong that blow-molded drums are the preferred containers for safe shipping and storage of hazardous chemicals. After collection, the plastic is sawed, chopped, or ground into smaller flakes. The material is then washed, dried, and then blown into 1,000-pound Gaylord boxes. The plastic is then put into an extruder where color concentrate may be added if a specific color material is required. Unlike many other cart molding processes and materials, blow-molded No. 2 plastic products are long-lasting and can withstand this recycling process repeatedly without losing significant performance properties. The extruder heats the plastic and forms strands that are pelletized, repacked, then shipped across town to the molding factory. Here, the pelletized recycled plastic is either blended carefully with virgin material in a multi-step proprietary process or channeled directly into the material handling system. From this system, the pellets arrive at a molding machine and are fed to the blow molding extruder. The extruder heats, blends, and homogenizes the material, and then it is extruded into a plastic tube known as a parison. The molding process closes the mold around the parison, and the parison is blow molded at 100 psi, forcing the plastic against the walls of the hollow mold to form the desired shape and thickness. Using the blow molding process along with superior raw materials, roller waste carts are lightweight and strong, using less plastic to manufacture than thicker, heavier carts. Using less material to produce a high-quality product is known as pre-cycling. The molds are water-cooled, which speeds up the production process. After opening the molds, excess plastic is trimmed and collected for recycling. Since blow-molded products are molded under relatively stress-free conditions, they are less likely to crack. Although Zarn may not be a household name, they supply some of the biggest consumer product companies like Sears, Rubbermaid, and Waste Management. All of their products are made from No. 2 recyclable plastic, which is more durable. Many of their products contain significant percentages of post-consumer plastic, and some are even made of 100% recycled plastic. There's even a unique buyback program for their roller waste products. When the cart is no longer serviceable, they'll buy it back and recycle it into another cart or other product. This saves precious energy and landfill space. They also purchase post-consumer plastics from communities, in return supplying containers to the same community made from the recycled No. 2 plastic materials. So by recycling plastic and even old carts, you can help contribute to closing the recycling loop. Because water has been considered essential in the processing of steel, especially for the discharge of certain effluents which cannot be recycled, most major steel plants are located on rivers or lakes. One that isn't is California Steel Industries Incorporated, known as CSI. It's in, of all places, a semi-arid valley just 20 miles from the Mojave Desert itself. Because of its semi-arid location, the plant was designed with water recycling systems in mind. What about the seemingly insurmountable problem of effluents? This company has turned the situation into an environmental success story. The story begins during World War II, when the mill was constructed to supply the nation's wartime steel needs. As a strategic target, it was required by the Defense Department to be built 40 miles inland for protection from offshore shelling, which placed it in the desert. In late 1984, CSI acquired the steel-making facilities from its original owner and began operations, converting steel slab into a wide variety of coil and sheet products sold primarily in the western United States. The processing operation includes hot rolling, which produces carbon steel coils of specified thickness, width, and molecular structure. The process causes a layer of iron oxide to form on the surface of the strip, which is commonly referred to as mill scale. CSI descales its strip steel by running it through one of its 2 hydrochloric acid pickling lines. The pickling process allows acidic solutions to loosen and dissolve the fine mill scale, which produces a bright, clear surface on the steel. Years ago, the resulting 2 effluent streams, acid rinse water and what is known as spent pickle liquor, could not be recycled, and it was necessary for them to be neutralized and disposed of. Towards the end of the decade, it became clear that a different strategy, other than disposal, would be required for the future, and the options were examined. To handle the large volume of spent acid rinse water and other steel mill wastewater, an all-new multi-million-dollar treatment facility has been designed and will be built. The solution to the spent pickle liquor effluent was to construct a multi-million-dollar plant that would process this waste into a valuable commercial product, ferrous chloride, which is used in wastewater treatment plants and in wastewater collection systems. The facility was designed and constructed with safety and the environment as top priorities. For example, the spent pickle liquor is pumped into the plant through special state-of-the-art piping, actually a pipe within a pipe, with special leak detection equipment that permits it to be inspected throughout its mile-long route. At the facility, the ferrous chloride is removed and concentrated from an approximately 16% by weight solution to a 27 to 35% solution. The daily production averages 20 to 25 tons of ferrous chloride, cleaner than that available from other West Coast plants, which is sold to the City of Los Angeles sewage treatment plant. In addition, over 35,000 gallons of a 15% concentration of hydrochloric acid is returned to the mill for use at the pickling operations. And 13,000 gallons of reclaimed water is also returned to the mill. This has been a story of corporate decision-making and positive proactive efforts by California Steel Industries Incorporated to build a new state-of-the-art facility providing solutions to environmental problems that effectively meet and exceed community, corporate, and regulatory environmental standards.
It will cost billions of dollars to clean up hazardous waste sites this year. The best way to deal with hazardous waste accidents is to make sure they never happen. Let's take a look.
With federal, state, and local environmental regulations becoming more stringent, it's little wonder that some companies today feel a sense of over-regulation. And as much as most companies take extreme care to protect the environment, incidents can happen. Something leaks, spills, escapes into the air, or the soil, or a stream, and suddenly a business faces liability big enough to shut it down. It can be a disaster for the company, the environment, and the public. For the benefit of all, it is vital that the risk and liability associated with a potential pollution incident be properly evaluated. In order to effectively minimize the consequences resulting from such an occurrence and ensure that all the financial resources are available to properly respond and restore the environment. That's when a company like ECS Incorporated, located in Exton, Pennsylvania, makes its contribution to our environment. Since its inception in 1979, they have been exclusively dedicated to assisting industry with protecting the environment by providing consulting, insurance, and claims management assistance. To accomplish this, the underwriters have to be knowledgeable and able to recognize potentially hazardous situations, procedures, and infractions, which may increase a company's exposure to environmental liability. To attain this level of expertise, environmental engineers are trained to be underwriters. Working as a team, these professionals keep current with changes in federal and state regulations and with technical developments that can affect a client's business. As part of its unique service, a comprehensive on-site inspection of the insured is performed and a written report prepared. This inspection evaluates a company's regulatory compliance, safety policies, and operating procedures. The report is then utilized in the evaluation of risk and the determination of protection. With this level of sophisticated evaluation, underwriter analysis, and insurance protection, companies are able to rise well above the level of mere compliance and qualify for what many consider a seal of approval, respected and known throughout the industry as an ECS environmental insurance policy. In doing so, companies can be confident that they have a financially responsible tool in place in the event of a loss or accident, which assures prompt cleanup and protects the environment and the company's ability to remain in business. Today, ECS underwriting is a source of comprehensive environmental insurance for almost any company with an environmental liability exposure. These include generators and transporters of hazardous wastes, materials, and chemicals. Also, contractors, chemical distributors, remediation specialists, and treatment and disposal facilities. While most have avoided working in this area because of the perceived catastrophic risk, ECS has developed protection to offer a unique and growing class of business. Today, protecting the environment is everybody's business. Rather than viewing the environment and industry as adversaries, they are dedicated to protecting both.
By the turn of the century, demand for electricity will be greater than our ability to produce it. Energy efficiency and conservation are two ways that help us use less. Today's environment explores a few ways energy efficiency is being used to actually provide more electricity.
Electricity. We are a nation that is dependent on electricity. It wakes us up, moves us up and down, and even shows us the way. Since electricity is so readily available, most of us don't even think about how it's generated. Electricity accounts for almost 40% of the energy consumed in the United States, and experts have predicted that utilities will be hard-pressed to meet the demand for electricity sometime this decade. There are two things we can do to change the effects of this looming electrical shortage. Conservation, the use of less electricity, would restrict growth and make a significant change in our quality of life. Energy efficiency, on the other hand, helps electrical producers generate more from their facility and also makes products use less electricity while functioning at the same or better levels. Energy efficient improvements are our most important new electrical resource. The use of present and future technology can make the most effective use of available resources without a negative impact on our future growth or standard of living. Magnatech, an international leader in energy efficiency, recognized the need for improved electrical efficiency in generators, transformers, motors, and lighting. They work to increase the supply in all aspects of electrical generation from the source to our homes and offices. One of the ways this can be done is by finding new ways to help utility operators produce more electricity, by rebuilding existing equipment with more efficient materials. Magnatech re-engineered the Army Corps of Engineers Garrison Dam on the Missouri River in North Dakota. This enabled them to increase the output capacity from their generators without having to expand or add a new facility. Generating equipment currently in use can be made more productive through rebuilding and remanufacturing of the internal components. This rebuilding process increases the electrical generating efficiency of the generators. Once the electricity is generated, Magnatech also helps to assure as little as possible is lost before getting it to your home. With their energy-efficient transformers, substations at local utilities are able to distribute more electricity with minimal transmission losses, and testing equipment against the harsh elements that can affect transmission ensures minimal losses and outages during violent storms. With commercial and industrial firms turning to Magnatech electronic ballasts and energy-efficient fixtures, 40% less energy is used in lighting. And with many lights in the World Trade Center using energy-saving ballasts, a lot of electricity is being saved. This type of energy savings can make a huge contribution to reducing the amount of electricity we need today, tomorrow, and into the future. Reducing our demand on electrical suppliers to produce more, guaranteeing the future of our electricity supply for the 90s from energy efficiency.
Oil spills account for only 20% of the petroleum pollution in our oceans. The other 80% comes from the evaporation of unburned gasoline, which returns to the earth when it rains. Driving electric cars would have the greatest effect on reducing petroleum contamination of the sea. In the meantime, the less you drive, the less you pollute. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join us next week as we continue to search for more environmental solutions on today's environment.
This has been a presentation of 5-Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.